Actually, the major issue with, with that audit report is also saying that they overcommitted more than 10 billion in terms of what they could have been able to do out of the...
Where Nairobi County has a revenue target of 19 billion, but in the actual revenue, it has actually collected 3.689 billion Kenyan shillings, just rounding it off, perhaps 3.7 billion. But a few months later, Nairobi says it has actually surpassed the 10 billion mark. Do you feel this is even accurate, or is it just selling perhaps hopes?
Thank you, Chacha. I look at it a lot more differently, and in a lot of, maybe a lot differently. First, I look maybe by the amount that they have reported to us as 3.7 billion as maybe managing the Kenyan or the expectations. Also, the fact that they have come back and said they are at almost surpassing the 12 billion mark, which is a high that can only be compared with 2015. I see like then maybe I don't know, the minister is here. I don't know if there is maybe a problem in terms of how they report their income. But also where are what is Msema Kweli in terms of what systems do they have that they are able to know how much has really actually come through, because it can be an expectation of what has come through and maybe what they expect to come through. So I'm just looking at maybe the minister can explain to us in terms of the efficiencies and also the practicability, and maybe how correct the 12 billion is. Is it money in the bank, or is it the expectation of collection? That's the other thing that we should look at. And I know he's mentioned the issue of a very contentious revenue area for counties that has not been explored in most of the counties, and that is the issue of building, where whatever Wananchi does and whatever the county does, sometimes actually there is a big gap in terms of the whole things about authorization and what needs to be done. That has not in this country, and that's why we normally say that Kenya is not a planned country, and cities are not planned cities, because anyone can have a leeway to do whatever they want. But if some of those things can now be brought to the table and be a contribution to the revenue that the minister is talking about, not only to Nairobi County, but something that can be replicated to all the counties countrywide, then we can see a lot of revenue collection for the counties. The other question that I'm sitting here and asking myself, and it goes on to the issue of also efficiency. What other, I know most of your, the rates, rebates, the parking, what other areas maybe have you seen? What other gaps have you seen in counties? Because if you had budgeted for 19.5 billion to come through, I'm sure you must have ways in terms of collecting, or the different areas in terms of collecting the 19 billion. And are you able now to see where the gaps are, so that going back into your planning, you can say this time this revenue stream is the one that didn't bring in a lot of money, this is the one that brought a gap. The problem with this one is because we are not able to implement because the Mwananchi thinks otherwise, or there is a slow, or there is a high. These are some of the contentious issues. And since Chacha, we are discussing Nairobi on the table, how can this discussion be replicated to other countries, 47 countries, counties countrywide, so that we can be able to see? Because the more revenue is collected, the more the impact to common Mwananchi, the more markets in Nairobi will open, the more economic activity, because I believe Nairobi actually is the biggest county, or is the richest county, or is the most economically viable county. Then how can this discussion be able to direct, or even be able to be helpful to COG and his people? That is what I'm looking at.
Is it possible for counties to actually cure this particular problem? Because we have coming, of course, upcoming general election, 2027, 2032, and even moving forward. Is this the case when we have an election and we transition to another county government?
Thank you. Thank you, Chacha. Waziri has said it very correctly, that county is a going concern, meaning it's operating in the foreseeable future, you know. And looking at the Auditor General's report, I think some of the contentious issues, I look at them as quick wins for him that can be resolved very quickly. And if they are going back, there are things that have been dating back to years, then there has to be a resolve. Or now that he wants to be intentional in terms of resolving some of the issues that have been laid down by the Auditor General. One of the things that I see is that the disregard of the public finance management regulations, which is where he has been given a budget, and that budget or the account or the money that he has been given to manage, he has not done as per what he said he will, meaning that overcommitting, that is one thing that as per the report. If you look there, actually more than the 50% of the report, it's saying that what was disregarded was mostly in procurement. I've picked just a small snippet of where even the procurement of milk was not done right. I mean, these are things I'm sure they are done under AGPO and some of those things. And for such a small I can call it small procurement, considering counties normally have bigger procurement. I think some of these things are quick wins for Waziri here. They are things that he can quickly resolve. Things like, for example, travels. In the report, they have been said to be overcommitted, meaning that even as per the IFMIS, it's showing that there was overcommitment in terms of the travels. How then can he be able, what is he putting in place to ensure that some of these things are not going to repeat themselves? And how has he put that in place to ensure that also the counties, even from a planning perspective, from a travel perspective, wherever his people are traveling, that he can be able to control that. If you look at actually the major issue with that audit report is also saying that they overcommitted more than 10 billion in terms of what they could have been able to do out of the 47 billion that they say they have. So and that is why the issue of pending bill is coming to 10 billion.
Well, which
that
will
is where we
actually
are.
be